You are listening to Salam Media. It is 12:31 and I'm your host, Mari Mukwanda. Heart disease is a major cause of death worldwide, responsible for some 9 million deaths a year. But it is preventable, and health behavior changes such as exercising more, quitting smoking, and eating healthier are often recommended. To tell us more, we have dietitian Amina Dindar. Assalamu alaikum, Amina, and shukran for joining me.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you so much for having me on the show.
Alhamdulillah. So, what are some of the causes of heart disease?
Okay, so when it comes to heart disease, there are a number of causes or factors that can lead to heart disease. Obviously, something like family history or having a family background of heart disease does play a role. In terms of lifestyle, sedentary lifestyles, unhealthy eating habits, putting more focus on unhealthy foods, especially nowadays. I think we've become so accustomed to having processed foods as part of our everyday diet, takeouts, foods that are fried. We're looking for all the easier options. So I think our diets have steered more towards that direction, and in turn, it has increased our intake of what we would say the unhealthy fats as part of our lifestyle. With the hectic lifestyles that we have so much more things going on in our lives. We have very limited time for exercising. Our stress levels are quite high, and all of these do play a role in leading towards heart disease.
Mhm. Now, what is the difference between saturated, unsaturated, polysaturated? The word saturated is always there, but most of the time we don't even understand what does it mean. So, what are those fats and what are their differences?
And it's such an important topic, and thank you for bringing this. Is that whenever we talk about fat, we label it as bad. So when you hear something is fat, you think, oh no, bad. But fats are actually such an important part of having a healthy diet. The use of fat in our bodies is so important. Fat acts as a means of protection in our body. If you think
Mm.
about our brains are made up of 60% of fat. That's more than half of our brain has a fat percentage. So it's so important that we understand what fats are, what the role fats play in our lifestyles, in our bodies, and the difference between healthy and unhealthy fats. Now, if you look at products, if you look at the back of them, they all have labels. And on the
Mhm.
label, you have all the different fats labeled. You have your total fats, you have trans fats, you have saturated, unsaturated, and most of the time we don't even know what all this means. So
Mhm.
when you look at something like saturated fats are what we would say sort of on the unhealthy side. These fats would increase your LDL cholesterol, which is now your bad cholesterol. So saturated fats would increase your cholesterol levels. Examples of food sources of saturated fats would be like fatty meat. So, if you're thinking about beef, the fat part of the beef, lamb, the fat part. When you think about chicken, it's the skin on the chicken, things like butter, coconut oil, cheese, dairy products that are high, that are whole fat. Those ones are your saturated fat. When we talk about unsaturated fat, those are the healthy ones. So when you're looking out for fats, you want to make sure you're choosing products that are unsaturated. This means that unsaturated fats play such an important role in protection in our body, and diets or foods that contain unsaturated fats actually help uh, to increase the good cholesterol in our body, and they help to lower the bad cholesterol. When it comes to unsaturated fats, you do get two types, which are your monounsaturated and your polyunsaturated. And that obviously divides further into different categories. But simple examples of monounsaturated is like your olive oil, canola oil, avocado, almonds, pecan nuts. And then your polyunsaturated would be your fatty fish, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, flax seeds, those type of things.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you mentioned coconut oil unsaturated fat, I was kind of surprised because, I mean, I thought that coconut oil was a good oil.
So it does have benefits.
Mm,
Like any food, if you look at any foods, there is some benefit in it. I think that the concern or the problem comes with coconut oil is the amounts that we end up using. And when you
mm-hmm,
think about fat, a portion of fat is 1 teaspoon. Which is very small. And when we end up using fats, whether it's good fats or bad fats, we always use much more than the recommendation. So it's so important that we need to understand this. When it comes to coconut oil, yes, it can have a place in our diet. It does have some benefits, but obviously an excess of it is not going to be ideal or shouldn't be part of a healthy lifestyle.
mm-hmm. Right, and how often should we have the fats that you've mentioned above? I mean, previously.
So fats form part of a healthy diet. So when you're thinking about a plate of food, even when it comes to a snack, you want to have a healthy fat on your plate. So for example, if you're having a salad, add some nuts and seeds to your salad for added unsaturated fats. If you're having breakfast in the morning and you're having oats, or you're having a bowl of cereal or something, add some nuts and seeds to your food, to your meal. When you're thinking about sandwiches, add some nuts and seeds there. Drizzle some olive oil over your salads. Make your own salad dressing at home. It's important that fats form part of a healthy diet. So any meal, even when it comes to snacks, we are so accustomed to snacking on what we say our carbs alone. So, for example, you'd have a cracker alone or fruits alone, but including a healthy fat with your snacks is so important. Not only for the benefits of fats, but it also helps to make the meal more filling. It helps to control your sugar levels, and it has so many benefits.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, please give us examples of foods that may increase heart disease.
Okay, so when you're thinking about heart disease, you're thinking about high fat food. And when you think about high fat food, we often think about fried things, so we're
Mm,
thinking about fried chicken, fried chips, samosas, and yes, all of them do play a role in our in leading towards heart disease. And the thing with oil is once oil is heated, it changes the composition of the oil. So when you heat oil to a certain temperature, which is usually a frying temperature, which is much higher than a cooking temperature, the composition of the oil changes. And what
mm,
happens then is that oil is absorbed into the food and obviously into our diet or into our
mhm,
bloods, into our bodies. But those are not only the types of fats that you want to be wary of. You also want to be wary of trans fats, which are found in hydrogenated vegetable oils. These would be found in things like cakes, biscuits, donuts, kusistas, those type of our baked goods that are high in sugar, high in fat. So those are the ones that you also want to be wary of. And if you think about it, they've also sort of become an easy option to form part of our diet. When you think about something like a muffin, it's something filling. It's something you would have with your tea as a snack at work, maybe if you're running late or something. So, like I said, it's easy options that you would find, particularly at the garage. If you stop, you'd find a pie there. and it's easy, it's filling, it's something you would lean towards. So it's so important that we do understand our food groups. We know what foods are high in fats and what types of fats and what can lead to heart disease. So be wary of these trans fats, baked foods that high fat content, high sugar content. So that's important.
Mm-hmm. Now, while mentioning trans fats and cakes and confectionery, what about margarine?
So yes, margarine does play a role. It also depends what type of margarine. If you think about the hard margarine, it is considered to be more on the trans fat side. If you're looking at soft tub margarine, um, it is um, it is a better option, or it is better in your diet. Margarines nowadays are also have added nutrients to it. You know, it has added vitamins and minerals. It has added benefits from plant sterols and things like that. So it does play a role in our diet. But with something to remember is that margarine is also something that is processed or manufactured. Okay, so the easiest thing would be to use, in terms of fats and spreads, to use things that are natural and things that are whole. So something like butter. A lot of people find that, oh no, butter is not a good option, but there is ways that it can be including. A nice simple trick to do is to make your own butter olive oil spread. So you mix your butter with some olive oil, and there you've already added some monounsaturated fats into your diet, which are your healthy fats, and it can be included as part of a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. So peanut butter would also be a good alternative.
Yes. So peanut butter, definitely, it is a good alternative. It's a nice snacking option. Adding it as part of a snack is a good idea. Always go for the one that's no salt and no sugar added, because that's another thing that we want to be wary of: low sugar and low salt in our diet. Remember, sugar, especially high intakes of sugar, causes inflammation in our body, which can lead to heart disease as well. So, being wary of our sugar intake is really important as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is the festive season now, and I know many of us tend to be careless with what we eat and what we drink during the holidays. So, what tips do you have for us to not fall into that trap of eating unhealthy?
I think it's such a good question, and I find that when it comes to holidays, and like you said, we all fall into the trap of, oh, it's holiday, it's fine, you know, I'll get back into it into the new year. But it's not about that. It's when we look at food, we should look at food with a different eye. I find that food, or the reason that we eat food, is for nourishing our bodies. And every time you put something in your mouth, it's an opportunity to nourish yourself. So you want to think about, what do I want to nourish myself with? So always consider that before you eat anything. It will also enable you to be mindful about eating. I think nowadays, with our rushed lifestyles, we eat very mindlessly, especially on holidays. You know, we're always chatting while we're eating. We're busy with other things. We're playing on our phone. We're watching TV while we're eating. So being mindful about eating is so important. Sneaking in all the good things. We often hear, when you want to try to eat healthy, you often hear things like, don't eat this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But it's so important that instead of all the no's, let's just try to add more nourishing things to our diet. Adding nuts and seeds, making your own salad dressings, making your own butter spreads with olive oil. Sneaking in all those healthy fats are so important. Um, it plays such an important role. When traveling, I find it so important to pack some light snacks in the car to avoid buying something unhealthy at the shops. At the garages, it's so difficult to find healthy snacks or healthy food options. So simple things: fruits that won't go off in the car, nuts and seeds, dried fruit is an option, as long as it's moderation. Baking your own goodies at home. There's so many options or things that we can do and take with in the car that will make snacking so much more pleasant, and it will avoid keep us away from all the unhealthy options. Making sure we're hydrated, keeping water in the car so you're not forced to buy anything um, that's high in sugar. Something simple like making homemade iced tea and freezing it while you're traveling is such a nice way to have something refreshing on the road without having to stop and buy your Coke or a sugary drink. That's important. When you're dishing out your plate at a restaurant, focus on what you're buying. Don't starve the whole day just for your restaurant food. Have a snack before you go that enables you to make a better choice. Include more a salad as a side instead of only chips. Allow one person to order chips as a side and another salad so that there's more variety in the meal and it's not just high fat foods. Something simple like asking for the sauce not to be added onto your foods but rather on the side. Sauces also are high in sugar, high in fat, high in salt. So that's something you want to be wary of. Keep them on the side. That's important. Um, when it comes to breakfast options, make sure you're having enough fruits, make sure you're having whole grains in your breakfast. It's all these simple, small things that we can make that are not major changes that we can do that can have such an impact on a healthier lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And these tips that you've just shared with us, they also help you to save money. I know many of the times you complain that healthy eating is expensive, but it really isn't. When you look at it, you're actually saving more money by not buying the processed foods, by not buying all of the sugary drinks, etc. Yourself, if you buy your vegetables in bulk, you can always just pre-cut them, pre-chop them, meal prep them, and put them away in the freezer so that you know that you do have your vegetables ready, and you have saved up quite a lot. And if you're going to be making your muffins, or if you feel like having a muffin, rather bake your own when you know what you're putting in there, and you know the ingredients, you know the amount of sugar. You can always add an extra seeds and nuts, like you mentioned. So uh, people should stop saying that healthy eating is expensive.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. I completely agree. You often find people saying, "Oh, no, I can't diet. I don't have everything that I need." But it's just making simple changes. And like you said, in the long term, it really saves because it's mostly preparing at home. It sounds like a lot of work, but when you are planned, it becomes so much easier. And I think that's so important, making everyone aware that how much easier it can be to prepare yourself when you're going away, even at home for school lunches, simple things. Being
Mhm,
prepared is the key to eating wisely for your heart, saving money, and saving time as well.
mhm. All right, Amina, how can we reduce the risk of heart disease?
Okay, so I think that some of the most important things is having more fruits and vegetables in our diet. We don't realize the importance of fruits and vegetables in our diet. They're high in fiber, high in vitamins and minerals, high in antioxidants, which are all the things we need for healthy body, healthy mind, healthy heart. So, high fruits and vegetable intake, fruits and vegetables, the ideal that we want to include in our diet is the guideline eat a rainbow a day, meaning try to go for different colors of fruits and vegetables. Different colors mean different vitamins and different minerals, and that's the beauty of our fruits and vegetables. Allah Ta'ala has given it to us so that, and he's given us such a variety of fruits and vegetables, and each one is specific in what vitamin and mineral they contain, and we really underestimate the importance of that in our diet. So including fruits and vegetables, whole grain foods, super important, high in vitamins and minerals, high in fiber, replacing our unhealthy fats with healthier fat options. Okay, being wary of salt when we're cooking. And I don't mean the salt we're adding to our food, but all the extra things that we're unaware of that are high in salt. So things like soup packets, sauces, different types of spices, different types of marinades. These type of things are quite high in salt, and we don't realize how much of salt we're adding to our diet. Increasing our physical activity is so important. When it comes to physical activity, we say we don't have time, but just making at least 20 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week is so important to improve our heart health. Making sure you're at a healthy weight, that's also important, and focusing a lot on lowering your stress levels, finding ways to deal with stress, managing your stress effectively, using exercise as a means of managing your stress, using healthy meditation, praying, those type of things. Healthy ways to limit your stress is so important for a healthy heart as well.
Mhm. Amina, you have given us some great tips there. Shukran so much for your time. How can our listeners contact you should they require further advice from you?
So I can give out my number or my email address. They're more than welcome to send me a message or an email, or give me a call if they need any information. I love helping people. I love giving advice. So I really don't mind if anyone is keen. Please give me a call on 072 997 2557, or my email address is aminadindar@gmail.com.
All right. Shukran so much for your time, Amina, and have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Amina Dindar, a dietitian, giving us some tips and also explaining to us the difference between saturated fats, unsaturated, polysaturated, trans, mono. There's so many words that she mentioned there, but to just know the differences between unsaturated and polysaturated, with no, not poly, saturated and unsaturated. With saturated being your fatty meats, anything that is full fat, and your unsaturated being your olive oil, avocado oil, your fatty fish, and we can stop heart disease, guys. You can prevent, and you don't have to be one of those people who have heart disease, even if it's hereditary. You can be the person who breaks the chain by simply making lifestyle and diet changes. Remember, it's not a diet, but it's a lifestyle. Make these changes today so that you can have a healthier and better tomorrow, and implement them with the entire family. It may not be an easy start, but eventually they will all go down that route with you, and they will become a healthy family. You will become a healthy family. If you would like some more advice, you can contact Amina on 072 997 2557. That's 072 997 2557, or email aminadindar@gmail.com. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.